It's January. The start of a new year has sprung. There's a chill in the air. You start to see snow piling up outside your front lawn. But this isn't your average run-of-the-mill winter. Oh no, 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 no. This is a winter wonderland. Cuddle underneath the warm blanket with the hot cocoa on hand. Because today, we're talking about Dance Academy. It's unfortunate within the landscape of teen media discussion, Dance Academy almost always escapes people's radar. Much like The Next Step, which is one of my favorite shows of all time, it's crickets in the YouTube search engine surrounding commentary. That stops now. As a shock to no one, it better be, dance has been a huge part of my life. I grew up at the barre, practicing demi-pliés, tendus, battements, all the while chugging myself across the floor. Dance media has honestly provided me so much comfort in times when I felt incredibly alone. The characters and their relationship with movement really made an impact on my own dance journey. I used to think that doing this professionally was only a pipe dream until I saw people my own age actively achieving this for themselves. However, performing arts series have continued to pervade throughout the realm of TV and film. Several notable ones have gained significant traction. Documentaries in particular have grown in popularity due to their successful Netflix adaptations. So what makes Dance Academy stand out to me specifically? What, in my mind, makes this series so special? Well, it all boils down to the rawness and intimacy embedded in its story. The intimacy with the dancers and their passion for progressing within the realm of movement really helps draw people into Dance Academy. Stories such as these want to prioritize the dancer's relationship with movement first and foremost. Even though Dance Academy discusses more than just dance, the heart of the show is centered around it. Dance Academy is a teen drama that premiered in May 2010 and was created by Samantha Strauss and Joanna Werner. You might be familiar with some of their other work such as H2O Just Add Water and my personal favorite, Riot, which are still highly revered. The story of Dance Academy mainly revolves around a 15-year-old girl named Tara Webster who lives on a farm and desires to become a professional ballerina for the national company in Australia. When she arrives at auditions for the feeder school, the National Academy, Tara quickly realizes the talent far exceeds her own abilities. To Tara's detriment, her technique resembles that of a 12-year-old.
Your technique is what we'd expect of a 12-year-old. Physically, you have potential, which I assume is why you're here, but so do a lot of other girls. I don't think you're ready.
Though Tara has the potential in her movement and passion for the craft, her training in the eyes of instructors is severely lacking. Along the way, she befriends another classmate, Abigail Armstrong, who initially played nice until Tara's talent overshadowed her own. During her final audition, Abigail tried to disqualify Tara because she broke curfew. Luckily, in the nick of time, she is rescued by another student, Kat Karamikov, who she ends up befriending as well during auditions. From there, we follow Tara's journey training to become a professional dancer, finding love, creating friendships, and discovering one's own passions when confronted with obstacles. While this was a very vague premise of Dance Academy, considering the series covers a wide variety of topics, this initial intrigue captivated so many of us to begin watching it. I remember when I first watched Dance Academy, I was around 12 years old, and the story about a young girl moving to the big city, all while trying to pursue her dreams of becoming a professional dancer, was just so satiating, to say the least. I grew up in a similar background as Tara, as someone who came from the suburbs and didn't have access to a huge city where I could pursue the arts, something that I still want to very much do today. Something that I very much appreciate about Dance Academy is that it didn't overstay its welcome. It had 3 seasons to tell its story and it stuck to that. Unlike others in a similar vein where the story just meanders so far from what the initial plot was that it just becomes so absurd why you're even wanting to continue watching it. This is why Dance Academy feels like such a complete series. There was not too much else to discuss throughout its run, except for the movie, which we will get to in a little bit. The universal appeal of Dance Academy really lended the series to cultivate a large following with a broad demographic. According to an ABC blog post made during the premiere of the show, Dance Academy is a new drama series for children and young adults, and anyone, anywhere, who's ever had a dream. With this target audience established, the series would go on to win numerous awards, create such a huge and substantial following, as well as having conversations in the community after a decade from its original run.
Icon. Icon.
Let's start with the characters. Tara Webster. She is what we would call a self-insert for the viewer, a character in which the audience member can feel as though they are attached to this person at the hip and is essentially them by proxy. Tara's whole shtick is that in another life, she can fly. She doesn't have any restrictions. The sky is quite literally her limit. She wants to have the ability to soar through her training, through her performance, as well as connecting with other people, and dancing is another way for her to accomplish this feat.
But from that day on, I've always known that in another life I could fly. And that's why in this life I dance. From then on, I've always known that in another life I could fly. And that's why in this life I dance.
This is very much reflected in the way Tara dances. Her movements aren't always fully complete. Oftentimes they are out of control. She doesn't always hit every technical aspect of her movements, such as pointing your feet, such as keeping your derriere tucked under, having a long net and finishing off your lines, as well as not having her adrenaline continue to push herself forward, so she's able to be fully control of her own body. This stylization of performance in Tara is very much shown throughout the beginning of the series. When she is performing a variation, she is imagining herself performing on stage. She wants to be able to envision herself being free. So she ended up altering the choreography, which this not only captures the attention of Miss Rain, her teacher, but also other dancers, as she is able to connect beyond just doing the choreography. And this is what makes Tara so threatening in the eyes of other dancers, specifically Abigail.
Webster, isn't it? You altered the choreography. Why?
I don't remember.
Abigail, there was a coldness now. I want to see what's beyond the steps. You could learn something by watching Tara. It was surprisingly good.
Tara is such a refreshing presence to have in the series because although she is supposed to fulfill the plain Jane role, she still has her own identity and aspirations for her life. Tara, coming from a less privileged background, is something that continues to crop up in her experiences at the National Academy. She is able to make friends with others who help her acclimate to a big city and expand her horizons on the world apart from her living on a farm. Her friendships with Sammy and Kat fully encapsulates this. They both help Tara understand the layout of Sydney, and they help her to not be naive when things are presented to her. And this in turn helps them as well. Specifically when it comes to Kat. Tara being able to move to Sydney was a huge financial burden on her family, so she has to work her ass off to be able to stay at school. Meanwhile, her peers aren't the ones that have to face face such challenges. Kat is someone that comes from wealth. She is someone that has had a lot of privileges because her mom is a professional ballerina, something that Tara aspires to be. This in turn sparks their initial conflict that occurs in season 1. Specifically, when Tara is coming out of her solo, Kat ended up skipping her solo performance during the family convention, and Tara gets irritated that Kat isn't putting in the same effort as her to improve her dancing, and is taking advantage of this opportunity.
Was it gruesome? What? Oh, I just skipped my solo. I all of a sudden couldn't be bothered.
No one said anything.
Well, I need some retail therapy and Natasha needs to see the bill, so feel like giving this little baby a workout?
You know what, Kat? A lot of people would give anything to be here and have what you have. It's getting really old how you just take it for granted.
This is so refreshing, especially considering that this aspect of Tara's character is not omitted in later seasons. Her coming from a lower socioeconomic status is continually a part of her character, but it isn't shoved down your throat. However, it is very much there and a part of who she is. We can see this in season 2 when a new character, Grace, pops in and she breaks all of Tara's point shoes as well as her own so that she can separate Tara and Abigail from them becoming friends. And we see this take a toll on Tara when she has to ask her parents to get her new point shoes, and she realizes that it's extremely expensive, which, putting this into context, point shoes are over $100. The crimes that Grace has committed.
Yeah, I can make them last a little bit longer. I know it's a lot of money. Sorry for asking.
However, like anything good, there is also another side. Tara's character, in some aspects, does fall flat. Intentionally, of course. Like many teen girls during that time, Tara was obsessed with wanting to enter her first relationship. And this portrayal is shown through the character of Ethan. Ethan Karamakov is presented as the older, more mature, and desirable male love interest.
Who's that?
Ethan Karamakov. He's going into 3rd year.
Are he and Kat together?
Half brother. The better half.
Ethan and Tara's interactions is where a lot of the discourse surrounding Tara's characters starts to crop up, labeling her as cringe and someone that is unable to make divisive decisions. Now, even though the criticisms lobbied towards Tara's character is understandable, in some aspects, I wonder how fair they actually are. Oftentimes, when it comes to criticisms of female characters, they're coded in a really weird and borderline misogynistic way. And I often question if these same criticisms are lobbied towards the male characters, which, when it comes to Dance Academy, is not really the case. Anyways, the reason why criticism crops up about Tara is because Kat initially told Tara that she should not date Ethan. His archetype in this case is to be a playboy, someone who wants to entertain girls and enter relationships with them for his own benefit. And then when he gets bored, he leaves and finds the next better option.
Golden boy, I've been looking for you. Hi, Tara.
Hi, so you're back?
Yeah, exchange was nuts. The Russians massacre you in technique class. Truth is, I actually really miss this place while I was away.
Liar. You just missed me.
Huh?
Oh, I'm sorry. Was there something you wanted?
No, I just see you in detention.
Did something happen with her while I was away?
No. Well, nothing serious.
Oh, you are such a player.
Well, look at that! You're not just book smart, you can also point out the obvious.
While yes, Tara is not innocent in this case, considering that she ended up kissing Christian, who is another character in the series. However, Ethan is still very much in the wrong. However, this makes Tara realize that her relationship with Ethan was just a mere infatuation. It was not something that she wanted long term. This isn't to say that Tara and Ethan don't have a lot of similarities and develop a profound friendship. However, it's just to show us that this infatuation of someone wanting to date a slightly older person was just something that they wanted to experience for themselves. At the same time, Ethan is not a blank canvas of a character. He is someone that has depth. And Ethan finally moving on from Tara, he is able to explore the depth of wanting to become a choreographer and not be in the shadow of his father. Tara and Ethan's relationship was essential for their character development, and although both of them have done pretty eyebrow-raising things, more in Ethan's case, they needed each other to both understand what they truly wanted and want to center in their lives. Similarly, when it comes to entering romantic relationships with slightly older boys so that you can understand what you truly want in life, we have the icon herself, Kat Karamakov. Kat is a character who has a lot of layers. She is someone that at first glance could be seen as a party girl, someone that just doesn't care about anything in life. However, there are so many things about Kat that you just can't help but root for. She is someone who is just trying to understand what she truly wants. As mentioned before, Kat is the daughter of a professional ballerina, the revered Natasha Willis.
Natasha Willis.
This is something that Tara really wants to become herself. It's her dream after all. This in turn sparks a lot of tension between Tara and Kat, since Kat truly feels as though that Tara is giving her mom more attention than her own self. Since Kat's mom is a professional dancer, she oftentimes focuses the majority of her time on herself and doesn't give her daughter the attention that she so desperately craves. She acts recklessly so that she can garner her parents' attention. However, this in turn makes Kat extremely vulnerable and easy to be preyed upon, specifically by older men. In some cases, this does end up helping Kat with the character of Miles. Although Miles is a very kind and empathetic person, it is worth pointing out that he is supposed to be an adult. So the relationship between Miles and Kat, although it can be seen as very icky in retrospect, this helped Kat to be able to develop an identity outside of following someone just because of who they are. There's this really powerful scene where Tara and Kat have another conversation about Kat not being able to pursue something that she wants because she's always in the shadow of somebody else.
You're going on tour with Miles Kelly.
No, he didn't mean it. It was just...
So did Kat. You're going on tour and staying in hotel rooms and celebrities and room
And
service.
following Miles Kelly around.
Yeah.
You know, all my life, Mum has dragged me around to these amazing places where I've met these incredible people, and it's great tea. But it's never my thing. It's always about her.
The fear of being the other or in someone else's shadow is something that drives Kat into a more harmful ideal of wanting to receive attention. Something about Kat that's so very intriguing to me is that she loves to dance. She's always loved to dance. However, she doesn't want to be in someone else's lane. At the same time, she wants to be good enough. She doesn't want to just enter the professional field because of her parents.
I think I miss it. Dancing. My legs feel weird without it.
So you are a dancer. What? Are you afraid of not being good enough? Is that it?
Yeah.
After this realization, we see Kat putting so much hard work and dedication into her craft as a dancer. We see her when she comes back to the National Academy as someone who is determined to become a strong performer, as well as being there for her friends, being super supportive of everyone. And even though Kat isn't perfect and tries to push things down so that she doesn't hurt other people, she's human after all. She's going to make mistakes, but at the end of the day, she wants to feel that she is good enough and is capable for anything that comes across her. In this same vein of trying to discover what it means to become a professional dancer in the eyes of people who don't see it that way, comes with the character of Sammy Lieberman. Sammy is essentially the character who is most male dancers. Sammy's family is very religious, and that takes up a huge part of his character. He wants to become a professional dancer, but at the same time, he wants to pursue stuff academically so that he can please his parents. The desire to please people and make them happy with your accomplishments, while at the same time not being able to truly pursue what you want in life, is such a common thing with male dancers. Sammy, in many ways, is similar to Tara in this regard. He is someone that has not had the natural talent, not a prodigy by any means, but he is someone that has had to actively work to continue his training, whether it's getting point shoes to strengthen his ankles, or him having to work a full-time job just to be able to continue being at school, since his dad cut him off. And this is what makes Sammy's unfortunate demise that much more heartbreaking. Throughout the course of the series, Sammy has desired respect. He has desired to be seen as a contender. So when he's finally being appreciated, when he's finally getting the time to be able to develop himself as a great dancer, and he's receiving the admiration he finally deserves, he's gone. He doesn't get to achieve his dream.
Where's family?
The most heartbreaking part about Sammy's death to me isn't really just him passing away. It's that he didn't get to achieve his dream. However, that doesn't mean he didn't have an impact on the people in his life. It is such a profound impact at the end of season 2 when everyone was gathered in a circle discussing the things that Sammy really wanted, and the most important thing to Sammy was that he developed a group of friends that he would know for the rest of his life.
Number 1, make a group of friends I'll know for the rest of my life. He didn't complete all of these, obviously, but he definitely did the last one.
Just talking about this gets me so choked up because it really just truly tells us that life is so short and tomorrow is never promised or guaranteed. So you have to pursue what you want at full force because you don't know if that's gonna be it. You don't know if you're not gonna be able to do what you want again. Then we have the dark horse, the man that pervades the entire National Academy, Christian Rhee. Christian is a very complicated character to talk about, and his portrayal on the show is still very divisive. However, Christian to me is someone that is a prime example of not judging a book by the cover. Christian has lived a relatively traumatic life. He's lost his mom. His only way of survival is by living with people through committing crimes. And he is attending the National Academy to receive bail so that he doesn't have to be sentenced to something that he honestly didn't do. He's being trapped in a cycle of recklessness, a cycle of feeling as if he has nowhere else to go. He is trapped because throughout all of his life, anyone who was truly there for him, his family, has abandoned him in some regard. Whether it was his father, whether it was Aaron, someone he was housing with. He, at every turn, was feeling as if the burden was placed on him, or something was just inherently wrong with him. And this in turn makes him feel as though he doesn't want to commit to anything. He's unable to commit to his relationships with Tara, as well as his relationship with Kat during the second season. He's unable to commit to anything or be able to pursue anything in fear of them leaving him behind. And even though Christian does do things that definitely irk me, it's very understandable why he behaves this way, especially upon a rewatch. I also do think that's probably a reason why Christian and Tara were such a popular pairing, not just because of the opposites attract, but also the fact that they both have had to live in environments that most of the people at the National Academy just haven't had to. They both grew up in relatively impoverished environments. And by the end of the series, Christian finally realizes what he wants to do. Even though he received a contract to perform professionally as a dancer in the National Company, he decides that he wants to carry on Sammy's legacy, his best friend, and to help other people who grew up in the environments that he did. And this was so refreshing. If you think about it, Christian not becoming a professional dancer makes so much sense. But one character who truly worked her ass off was Abigail. Abigail is definitely one of my favorite characters alongside Sammy. She is someone that has worked her tail off on her training. She is a beautiful, technically trained dancer, beautiful extensions, amazing leaps, and she truly wants it for herself. Though in the first season, Abigail can be seen as just a mean girl. Throughout the course of the show, she really transforms. She isn't just mean for the sake of being mean. She only acts in this way to get ahead in the professional dance world. Since Abigail does not have the quote-unquote desired dancer body or the quote-unquote desirable traits of a dancer, she has to commit some heinous acts in order for her to be seen in a more positive light. And this is such a common thing when it comes to the dance world, having to deal with your body image, always feeling as if you're not good enough, thinking that you're heavy, thinking that you're too bloated, thinking that you in a room of thin and elongated bodies and you're different. And that is such a difficult thing to process. And Abigail, during the course of the time that she's on the show, has really moved on from that. She explores so many different avenues of her dancing because she got out of that rut that being a principal ballet dancer was the end all be all. No, there are plenty of avenues to pursue professional dance. She really started to come into her own when Ollie entered her life, when another character in the series really pushed her to see beyond just the National Company. But at the end, to see that Abby's hard work and determination truly paid off and she ended up receiving a contract.
Abigail, it's okay. Really. I'm sorry, but I do have a dinner that I have to get to.
I just worked so hard.
Magnificent. There are so many amazing characters in the world of Dance Academy that just hit such a nerve. Ben is another character who is just downright endearing. Ben is someone that had to become a professional dancer while battling cancer that will always plague over him. And again, this is such an integral part of his character that it gets embedded in the movie. Speaking of the movie, can we talk about it? The movie feels like a proper conclusion to this series. Although we don't really get much screen time with Grace. In fact, I don't even think Grace is mentioned at all. You're probably wondering why I didn't mention Grace. I don't really care about Grace.
Let myself down. I don't let myself down. Just wanna be one.
The movie is set after Tara broke her back in the final series, where she was performing her solo to get into the company and she slips on a marble and falls on her back. She has been hurt from another teacher that sparked an injury, and this injury got reignited when she fell on stage. Also, let's just say how much of a full circle moment it was for her to work with that exact same teacher that hurt her. There are Saskias in the world. It's a very real thing, but Tara wants to pursue the National Academy once again. So she, unfortunately, is getting taken advantage of by the new head of the National Academy in order for her to achieve her dream. Tara spends a good course of the movie regaining the flexibility, the strength, and the technique that she's lost from her surgery. And she goes into multiple auditions to see what she truly wants. Not even just the National Company was something that was her primary focus. When she meets back with other characters, she realizes that the dance world is very cutthroat. She realized that being a performer isn't all that it's cracked up to be. And this in turn sparks her most profound realization in the series.
I just had my whole epiphany thing. I love ballet and, I'll always love ballet, but I just don't.
She doesn't want to be a dancer anymore.
Wow, what? What does that feel like?
Well, it's liberating, presumably.
Tara doesn't want to be a dancer. She loves it, but that's just not her dream anymore. And for Tara to be able to walk away from the single company that transformed all of the students at the National Academy's identity and saying no, there are other ways to pursue becoming a dancer was so powerful. Most of the cast have moved on from the national company. Everyone is pursuing things that they want for themselves. However, at the same time, they all get back together. They start their own company, and they are just the start of a new generation of dancers. Dance Academy is such a special series. It's something that I still carry with me to this day. The series really shows us that we shouldn't define ourselves to a single company, to a single person, or heck, to even one singular artistic feat. We should be able to expand our horizons on things that we're passionate about because we are not one-dimensional and we are not monolithic. We are able to be whoever we want to be, even if that's not what others aspire us to be. Dance Academy is special. If you're not interested in dance series, that's okay. But Dance Academy has poured in so many layers of what dancers truly feel in the real world. And that's what makes this series such a unique and special form of media.